Okay, today we are going to have some extra practice writing equations using our slope-intercept form. So if you remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Now, anytime we're talking about, I want to remind you guys the parts. So we have b right here, right? We're going to make b blue. B is our y. Oh, hey, go back. I wasn't ready. Right here. Okay. B is our y-intercept. And that is where our graph is going to be intersecting with our y-axis. And then here we have M. We're going to make it purple. M is our slope or our rate. It is the steepness in which our graph is going up. So, talking about slope that we just talked about, it is the direction and the steepness of the line. Generally, we're going to be using M as our variable, and it can also be called rate of change. Rate of change is what you used more often in 7th grade, so you might be more familiar with that. But moving forward with math, slope is going to be more commonly used. Then we have our y-intercept. Hey, did not say move on yet. This is where the graph crosses the y-axis. It's also called the initial value. This is because if we have when we have a graph that is a single quadrant like this, like we've been looking at a lot, and we have it going a positive slope going up like this, this is where the graph starts, right? Right here on the y-axis. So that's why it's originally called the initial value. But then when we get into where we're doing 4-quadrant graphs, it's not always going to be the initial value because the graph starts down here, not up here. So that's why we changed it to y-intercept, because it's where it crosses the y-axis. Okay? So let's practice. First off, we're going to write an equation for using the slope of 4 and the y-intercept of 12. So we have y equals, our slope is our m value, it's right here, and it is 4. So we're going to put 4, x is our variable, and then our y-intercept comes last with this 12. So plus 12. Because we have a positive number here, we use plus, and then notice that we have no negative here, so that tells me that this is a positive slope. So if I were to graph it very badly, apparently, because I can't draw a straight line. Let's do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh, and it's a positive slope. So this would be our intercept, and then we would have, remember, slope is rise over run, so it would go up 4 over 1, and your next point would be here, and so on and so forth. It doesn't show super great because I ran into the equation, but it would keep going up like this. Okay. You guys don't have to draw that in your notebook. By the way, all these notes you should be taking in your notebook, including all of this information over here. Oh, now you don't want to go to the next page? Now that that's what I'm wanting you to do. Okay, there we go. So now we have the equation y equals 1/2 and b equals 5. So sometimes when we see these types of problems, they will just give you the values. So that makes it a lot easier. Our standard equation is y equals mx plus b. So now let me just replace the variables with numbers. Now remember, both these numbers are still positive, so they translate both positive over here. If we were to graph this, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So our initial point would be right here at 5, between 4 and 6. And then we have a rise of 1 and a run of 2. Rise of 1, run of 2. Rise of 1, run of 2. And so our graph would look like this. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go backwards. So here they're asking us to find the slope and the initial value from this equation. Okay, so our slope we can identify by slope by where it is in the equation, and our slope is 3, a positive 3. And then our initial value is -5. We take it from right over here on the graph, and because this is a -5 here, that negative comes with it. Make sure you guys are bringing your negatives over with you when you're writing your answers, because if you don't, the question will be marked wrong. So just a heads up. I lost my mouse. There we go. Okay, same thing here. So we have our equation here, y equals -1/2 x. And we need to find the slope and the initial value. So we have slope, and we need to find, I'm going to write y-intercept because it's also called the y-intercept. So our slope is -1/2. But do we have anything over here at the end of the equation after our variable? We don't have a plus anything over here. So our y-intercept is going to be 0. So this equation is actually a proportional relationship because it's going to pass through the origin. Okay, now we are going to write an equation from the graph. So in order to write an equation, this is kind of the big one for this topic, because in order to write an equation, we have to be able to find the slope and the y-intercept. So first of all, we are going to find our y-intercept, which is like right here. And it's between 1 and 2, but it's closer to 1. So I'm going to say my y-intercept is about 1.2. Now we have to find the slope. So remember, to find slope, it is rise over run. So we find a point right here, and then we find the next point that crosses and intersects. That'd be right here. Our rise is 1, 2, 3. And our run is 1, 2, 3, 4. So our rise is 3 and our run is 4. So that makes our slope 3/4. So that would make our equation y equals 3/4. And it is a positive 3/4 because our slope is positive. You have to make sure you look at that too. X plus 1.2. All right, last question. write an equation from the graph. Same thing that we just did, but now we are looking at all 4 quadrants. I wanted to give you guys an example of all 4 quadrants. So the first thing that's going to be the easiest to find, oops, I forgot to change my tool, is my y-intercept. It intercepts at positive 2. So I'm going to put 2 there. Then I need to find my next point that intersects the graph. Is my slope is negative. It's going down. So I'm going to go ahead and put a negative here so I remember that it's negative. And then we look at our scale on our graph and it looks like it's all going up by 1. So that would make our rise 1, 2, 3 and our run 1. So that would make it 3 over 1, which can simplify down to negative 3. So our equation for this is y equals negative 1/3 x plus 2. All these notes should be in your notebook. When you finish this video, you need to bring it up to me so that I can mark off and say that you are done. And then you need to go on to Schoology to complete your assignment.